Oh, Singapore. Well, my people, well, everybody, Singapore happened to be one of those things. And when I say one of those things, I mean one of those events where you just didn't know what the hell was going to happen. You didn't expect that to happen. I think we had a lot of things going on. We had people pouting and protesting. We had people on their farewell tour. We had people just all over the place. We had horrible strategies. We had a team that you thought was going to just be on the climb, fall again. We had a team that was dominant, get gapped by 20 plus seconds. And we had a team that's been looking just so good with a driver about to choke it up. But we got some things to talk about. Incredible Facts Quest. Big shout out. Zitro Garage first in the live chat. This is F1 Minute. And let me tell you how you participate in F1 Minute. What you do is you can click that call button or link in the live stream. It is pinned or in the description. Come on into the studio, give your perspective, give your opinion, have some conversation, be part of the content creation for a little moment, give people time. And this is where you talk more than I talk, because it's really about you. Big shout out. Galacticus third in the live chat for the podium. Big shout out to everybody. Let's get this thing cracking, man. Let's get this thing popping. I'm ready for y'all to talk. This is not for me to talk, it's for y'all to talk. We got a lot of things to get into today. So I'm actually excited about this. Now, I could say that I didn't expect some things, but I did kind of expect some things. I've been telling y'all that these type of things would go on between Max Verstappen and Ferrari. But I want to know what you think. I want to know what you think. You could come on. We could talk about the Daniel Ricciardo situation. He got driver of the day. Do any of you all think that Daniel Ricciardo was actually driver of the day? I'm just trying to keep it a buck. Do y'all really think that Dan was driver of the day? Daniel Ricciardo finished in Singapore in 18th. He finished in 18th. Jeff Allen coming to the stage. Let's go, my brother. Jeff, what's up, Jeff?
Hey, been a while.
Time. I know, brother. How you doing?
You know what? You know what sucks? When your job and earning money gets in the way of getting on your show.
Oh, damn.
I hate that. Yeah, it is. The first thing I wanted to say is I love street races. I love Baku. I love Singapore. And you know why I love them? Because I know we're going to get a shit ton of safety cars. Except for this time. What? No crashes, no safety cars?
Nothing. I would say Lando was working on it. Didn't quite happen, but he was working on it.
Yeah, he was definitely working on it. Just with Lando, there was nothing that could stop him. Lockups, messing up his front wing. The only thing that was going to stop Lando was maybe back markers, slowing him down to where he'd only win by 15 seconds. But any street race that Max Verstappen is not the winner makes me incredibly happy.
Just warms your heart.
The other thing, and I know you're going to talk about this, but Mercedes has kind of taken over Ferrari as far as the mess ups in the tire strategy. That was horrible tire strategy. I was absolutely just shocked. But even if it was the right tire strategy, he wouldn't have caught Lando. But not have been lower in the top 10 than he was. He could have been on the podium with a good tire strategy. So other than that, just a few other things. One is I love Danny Rick. I've always loved him. He's a fun dude. Yeah. That was kind of a bitch move to let him get that last point on the last lap.
It was
just a couple more things. One
Go ahead,
is
brother.
I'm getting really, really excited. Here's what's exciting me right now.
All right.
I get to take this. I get to turn my Mercedes shirt into a Ferrari shirt. But no matter what happens, I have all bases covered. And of course, I've got my Ferrari, but my favorite shirt, which hopefully will happen next year, is Bring back the
Nick
breeze.
DeVries. Whoa, bro. Are you serious?
And that's all I got for you today, Jay.
Yo, bro, listen, let me tell you, it is such a good thing to see you back. You've been missed, your personality, your character, and of course, your changing of the swag. You are the swag dad here, man. Appreciate you much. I see that in the background, bro. All right, Jeff coming up. That was such a, listen, we've missed Jeff. Jeff is absolutely awesome. Big shout out to my bro, the mechanic Mercedes, still trying to pay up on the bet. Already paid majority of it. $500 bet between myself and him, and brother has been paying up all day. Big shout out, bro. Don't forget to send me your shirt size. I'm gonna send you a shirt and a hat for that Wolfpack Love Pack, brother. I really do appreciate you being a stand-up individual. Jeff is, I don't know. Jeff brought up some things about damn Danny DeVries coming back. Danny Rick getting driver of the day to me just. Let me tell you something. It does two things. It shows you that, hey, participation trophies actually do exist, even in the highest motorsports in the world. It's a participation trophy. Danny Rick did not earn driver of the day. You do not earn driver of the day finishing a race in 18th, 2 spots above 2 retired cars. You don't, it just doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen. But what it also proves is they can make happen what they want to make happen. If they can sit here and say, you know what, this is his last race, gonna make him driver of the day. What else can't they do? That's where you mess up to me. That's where you kind of show your cards when you think you're doing something that the crowd is going to love. You show us that you actually can manipulate the sport to do what you want to do. Danny Rick did not earn driver of the day. He didn't. Not in my opinion. If anybody was going to be driver of the day, Colapinto might have should have been driver of the day. If anybody was going to be driver of the day. But Danny Rick, nah. 2 spots above 2 retired cars, which tells me you likely would have been last had those 2 cars not retired. Danny Rick would have been last. So yeah, I'm not buying that at all. But let's talk about Max Verstappen and his crying of public service penalty for cursing. And let's also mix in there Ben Salim's comments, which do have racial tones, about Formula One not being like rappers. What is that about? How do you feel about that? What does that make you think about him? How do you feel about Max crying about public service? We did a show live earlier, and I showed Max. I don't think he done enough public service, bro, and it's not money. Maybe that's the problem. Somebody like Max Verstappen feels that public service penalty was so bad, he would have preferred to have been fined money than spend time doing good, wholesome things like charity or volunteer work. That's how it comes off. Then Max Verstappen, he goes in here, what's he do? He throws a temper tantrum in the press conference. Talk to me outside of here. Don't ask me those questions. This is not directed towards you. Max Verstappen be on some bull, man. I know he drive with Red Bull, but he be on some bull. So who else would like to come up? I told you all, this show is more about you talking to me. If I got to sit up here and talk, I already talked about these topics. It'll be a very short show, although a very awesome show because Jeff finally came back on and he's been missed. But it'll be a short show, all right? I already talk about these things. I will also say we can talk about Ferrari. Kenny Bugs, what's up, brother? Go ahead, come on in here, man. Pick one of these topics, talk about it. Give us some of your perspective, brother. As many people do like your perspective. We could talk about Ferrari. A lot of you all asked me this weekend while we were live streaming if I thought Ferrari was back, and I told you all before the race weekend started, I would need to see Ferrari on podium, and Ferrari fumbled. Carlos crashed out again, 2 races back to back. Leclerc finished off podium. I mean, no, they're not back to me. They just working on it. And I still got to wonder, do you still think it's a good move? I mean, it could be a good move for Lewis financially, definitely. Could be a good move for Lewis organizational-wise and maybe some people that might respect him more. But is it a good move for Lewis to have what he needs to win his 8th championship? Or is this going to just be some celebratory, I raced for Ferrari, I won a few races, and I'm glad I can finish my career possibly feeling comfortable and pleased with the team that I ended it with and ending in those red colors? Because even still today, Cowboys haven't won a damn thing, and They almost did it again and still lost again to the Baltimore Ravens. Somebody had to come out that game with a win. Dallas looked like they were at the end, and they just couldn't make it happen. And they haven't won, and still there's a lot of controversy about them being America's team, but they still are. It's just kind of off nostalgia. Ferrari's getting to that point where it's just nostalgia. It's just nostalgia to drive for Ferrari. It's just nostalgia to be in that red suit, to be in that red car, to have that prancing horse on your memorabilia. At this point in time, Ferrari's just always second best and maybe falling from the rest. I'm not too sold on it at all. I'm not too sold on it at all. And that's just how I feel. Now, remember, if you want to call in, the live link is both in the description and it is in the live chat. It is pinned. All you have to do is click that link like Jeff did, come in, request to do a call in. I'll pick up that call and you'll come on. So, and remember you all, this segment, F1 Minute, is about you coming out of the comment section and on to the content side of things. If you don't want to show your face, don't turn your camera on. Just have your mic on. Ezra did a lot of that last season. I don't know where he is now, but he still did. And he did that. So that is what I will say. Danny Rick, I'm going to talk about Danny Rick for a minute till I don't want to talk about him anymore. I did have high hopes for Danny Rick. Danny Rick, when he went on his sabbatical, well, it wasn't even a sabbatical. It was like taking a day off. When he went and took his day off, supposedly going on his sabbatical where he was going to travel across the U.S. on a Spesta, I said, maybe you need that. Maybe you need to get away from the sport, recapture yourself, recenter your essence of a Formula One driver for what people know as the honey badger. Come back. People still think you have it. Come back. Formidable team, and put the pressure on the rest of the grid and possibly at least be in the top 5 for Drivers' Championship. I don't even think you could win one, but I think you maybe top 5. Maybe you come back for some exponential reason and it just so happens to blow up. Danny Rick came back too soon, too little, and not late enough. He should have been late to the party. He showed up early to the party. He didn't bring all the food. He forgot to pick up the cupcakes, forgot the plastic silverware, forgot to pick up the ice. Danny Rick showed up to the Formula One party unprepared. Danny Rick showed up in very short order. Then he literally broke himself, came back after we got to see a pretty good performance from Liam Lawson, which likely is going to take that position. And he delivered nothing. Yes, Danny Rick, met him. Cool dude, very fun, very approachable. Even had a shoe competition with him while I was in the paddock. I got nothing bad to say about Danny Rick at this point in time on a personal level. But on an athletic performance level, it was piss poor. Danny Rick came and told us that he was going to regain his seat. He was going to get that Red Bull seat back, which he should have never left. And he showed us that he didn't deserve it. He even maybe made some people feel like this was going to happen anyway. You probably should have just stayed in that tractor, in that field, like they did when they had their whole little Red Bull entry when they was going to launch their livery. Danny Rick get out the tractor, get into a Red Bull car, driving across the country. You should have stayed in that tractor, Danny Rick, because pretty much that's what you'll be in the majority of the season, besides for some high moments. And the sun does shine on the dog's ass every now and then. And your ass got a little sun, but not enough to get tan. So, yeah, Danny Rick disappointed me because I defended Danny Rick for some time. I did. I defended him. I said, you know what? He probably still does have it. I think y'all cutting him a little short. I think you need to cut him a little slack. I think y'all are kind of underestimating what Danny Rick could do in a Formula One car. And Danny Rick made me look like a fool. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It ain't happening twice. Bleed in you once, not again. So if there's anybody out there saying Danny Rick will be back, I hope not. I hope Danny Rick goes and he does something different with his life. I don't care if it's racing somewhere else. I don't care if it's in Le Mans. Go try something different, Danny Rick. Go enjoy other things within motorsport. You've done Formula One for a while, brother. You have. And you accomplished some things here. You have. There are drivers that haven't had a race win in their entire career. You have. So go enjoy another motorsport. Go enjoy another discipline within motorsport. And you never know what you could be there. Everyone can't compete in the NFL at the highest levels. Kenny B says, not this one. Let's go, Kenny B. What's up, brother? Kenny B, what's popping, bro?
Hey man,
What's poppin'?
it took a minute. It took a minute.
I see, but you ain't no quitter. What you
Yeah,
got?
no, I'll never quit. Danny B, Danny Rick. I'm
Danny.
just gonna touch on it briefly.
All right.
We all know that Danny got broken. His brain got broke, and the only reason I'm even touching this subject is Lewis said something earlier, and everybody jumped on it like, "How can you concede that you a 7-time champion don't plan on winning any more pole positions or qualifiers against your teammate?"
Right.
And then he went on to explain it. He says, "Look, this particular type of car, this whole setup that they came out with in 2022, 2021 rather, does not fit my driving style. I like to V the corners, and this car, this type of car prefers a driver who can turn the corner. You get what I mean? Around the corner, rather.
Right.
And so it leaves him less room for error to get his style right, even though his style is faster because it's the same style that Verstappen uses."
Right.
Well, Danny did two things. Okay, when he left Renault and went to McLaren, he had some brake field differences that were confirmed by science when he talked to him about it. And he was like, "Hey, how come you didn't tell me about the way these brakes feel?" He was like, "Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?" But Carlos was able to adapt. Carlos is what you would consider a 1B driver, not a 1A driver.
Mm-hmm.
Lewis is a 1A driver. Max is a 1A driver. Alonso's a 1A driver. The 1B drivers, they're quick, but they don't necessarily like V in the corners. They like rounding the corners. Okay, and so now we're looking at Russell prefers to round the corners. It gives him an advantage in qualifying in the exact same car that Lewis drives because the way the ground effects work, it wants a stable car, a stable platform. And they get more stability when they round the corners than they do when they V the corner. It actually has to be a stiffer suspension for that, which also means that they're not going to like to ride as much either because the suspension is just the chassis and everything is just too stiff. Bottom line issue is Danny tried to make changes in his mind on how he drives, and he broke himself. And now he's finding it hard to get himself back. But when everybody asked Lewis to explain his situation, and he did, and they were all appalled, like, "Well, why wouldn't you make the changes and all this and all of that?" And he just said, "No, I'm not." Does that explain why he said, "No, I'm not going to change my driving style"? No. We need to change the way the car is designed because there's a way to change it to give the super fast, the 1A drivers, the advantage that they have over everybody else. Why would you want to set up a car for a 1B driver when you got a 1A driver there who can just run away with it?
Why
That's my
would you?
question.
Why would you?
Why would you?
Why would
I
you?
said the same thing about Max. Okay, they could design a car that's better suited for Perez's driving style, and he'd probably beat Max most of the time. But when you compare, like let's say they were able to build two platforms, one for Max's drive style, two cars, one for Perez's style, two cars, race them on the same track at the same day.
Mm-hmm.
Whose fastest lap do you think is going to be faster?
I'll go with Max.
Yeah, because his style is faster.
Yeah, I'll go with Max.
The engineers know this, and that's why and so do the team principals, and that's why they choose specific drivers on those front running teams.
Right. I
This
will
is
say this. I will say this though. I will say this though. You can't have both. Both things can be true. At a certain point in time in car development, Red Bull hit a spot where Perez was doing very well with the car and Max wasn't. Then they updated to update the cars more towards Max's driving style. If Perez doesn't do good with these updates, it doesn't cost you any money to keep updating this car if he was good with this one, because we already seen teams go backwards to try to find themselves once they hit a point where both drivers weren't doing well. So if you have a driver in Perez that is struggling that bad because he just is not able to drive a car that is clearly designed toward Max Verstappen's driving style, well, what revision of this current car did Perez do well with? Let's configure it that way. Let's configure, because right now we're getting nothing. We're getting very little to nothing. I would prefer to configure his car, backdate his car, and at least we know top 10, maybe 6, 7, instead of him being out Q2, Q3, not being in the race. It ain't costing us no extra money if that's what we're going to do, if we're not going to do that. So it is possible. So why not that? Explain, answer me that question. Why not that?
Okay, so let's tackle that for a second, okay? The question is what you're saying actually what happened, or is it what you perceive to have happened?
No, it actually happened.
No, that's what you perceive.
No, that's what Perez said happened. Perez said, okay, I'm comfortable with this car. It understeers. Max didn't like it because it understeered, and then they updated it. And then next thing you know, Perez has tried it oversteered. So it's not what I perceive happened. It was talked about in the conference. Perez talked about it.
Okay, no. What you're saying is absolutely true as far as what they said. Okay. The problem is when people talk, they talk from their perspective.
I get
okay.
That.
The one thing that does not need perspective is the car, because the facts are the facts with the car. The car doesn't change. The parts might change on the car, but the car doesn't change. Is it the same chassis that they started the season with? Question.
Yeah.
Is it the same suspension they started the season with?
Yes.
And up until Miami, was it the same floor they started the season with?
That I'm not too clear with, but I would say yes. Is it the same aero?
Yeah. Well, the floor is the main part of the aero, the floor and the diffuser.
It is, but it ain't all.
Those are okay. See,
it might be, but it's not all, right? We got to agree with that, right? It's not all.
Okay. There's platform and there's upgrades.
Update.
The platform is the way the car was designed and built.
True.
Upgrades are tweaking it to make it a little bit faster by making changes here and there aerodynamically.
And
those are not changes to the platform.
And what?
What I am explaining to you is you have the. Okay, listen.
No, but I'm saying, and the suspension, right?
The suspension is part of the platform. Unless they made a change to the suspension, that's part of the platform, okay?
Correct.
This is the same car they started the season with. All of a sudden, it is now unstable, more unstable now than it was at the beginning of the season. The things that Perez was complaining about, Max complained about too. When he was winning, he was complaining, wasn't he?
This season, yes. This season, yes.
Okay, he was complaining about the same things that Perez was complaining about. Instability in the rear end, instability on the curves. Okay? But he was still able to win because it was a winning platform. The problem is the upgrades that they started putting on the cars did not coincide with what the wind tunnel came up with. And they couldn't figure out why they were going in the other direction. And I said this last week. Isn't that about the time in Japan when Adrian Newey left?
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Not every engineer can see what others can. And the engineers that they're relying on now don't have the same vision that Adrian Newey has. So they can't fix the problems. Not only that, he told them that they should not go in this direction on this car, and they did it anyway.
He did. Correct. He did.
Okay, that was he gave him a warning. That started Adrian's concerns about leaving the team. And with the crap with Christian in the offseason, he was like, oh yeah, that's it. That's enough. I don't
I'm
need
done.
chaos in my life.
Right.
And that just made it happen. They still came out with the fastest car because it's still part of his original design. But
Right.
the direction that they took left it vulnerable, and it didn't expose those vulnerabilities until they started making upgrades to it. And then they started doing exactly what happened to Mercedes, going backwards.
Backwards.
Okay? So Perez did not get faster, or Perez was not absolutely right, and he wasn't absolutely wrong.
Okay.
Okay, because he's seeing the same things that Max was complaining about when Max was winning this season. Okay? They just didn't affect Max because, first of all, Max was able to drive around it in the first half of the season. Okay? And the ones that he couldn't, the races that he couldn't drive around on, he ran motherfuckers off the road.
Facts. Facts. Facts.
Okay? I got a request. Need to get Mary Beanie on here because she asked me a question at the end of the last section. I answered it, but we didn't get to go into it.
Yeah, she. I don't know why she ain't got on yet, but go ahead, Kenny B. Just go into it though.
She asked me what I thought about McLaren's rear wing, and if you look at the text, the messaging, I said it's legal.
Yes.
You know why? Remember at the Brazilian Grand Prix when they disqualified Lewis because his rear wing opened up
failed
too
the standard
much
test
because
with the gap test.
the gap test on one side because if there was a failure on it.
That was the same race that Max touched the car in Parc Ferme.
Exactly. Okay? There is a load test on how far that wing can open. And then there's a measurement of how closed it, how big the gap can be
when it's closed.
How it is when it's closed.
Right.
There isn't a measurement on the flexing of when it opens. And that's why the wing was legal. And even if it was, it would have passed it. Okay, but we know that they got a small advantage, but that ain't why they won. Okay, they got a small advantage. Man, go ahead on, man. You need to get somebody else on here.
No. Let's go, Kenny B.
Okay.
Go.
Okay, somebody put some measurements on YouTube,
Okay.
and they were talking about the speed down the straightaway for going up, leading up to turn one.
Right.
And what they showed was McLaren was slower with the DRS closed. No, they were faster than Ferrari with the DRS closed by like 1 or 2 kilometers.
I don't remember what it was.
When the DRS, but when the DRS was open, Ferrari was faster. But they got such a good run leading up to the opening of the DRS that he was able to put up such a good fight. Every time they got to turn one, he couldn't pull off the move. Wasn't enough space. So they got a small, tiny advantage from that. Mm-hmm. But the only reason and even FIA said the wing's legal. But they went to McLaren, and McLaren, just to set the record straight, to end this controversy, because they only used that ring for what, 3 or 4 races?
Right. It wasn't done.
So the next time they're going to use it in Vegas. That's the last time they're going to use that wing. And they said, you know what? We'll make a change to it. But if everybody want to focus in on that, let them.
Right. Because that ain't the big part of this pie. Right.
That is not why y'all getting beat. Y'all getting beat because we are stable over the bumps.
Right.
Our platform is stable and we have good aero. Period.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
So what makes the platform stable? Suspension. Right?
Right.
So how come this year all of a sudden Red Bull couldn't handle the curbs in Monaco or anywhere else for that matter? It got really exposed in Monaco because that's where Max was really complaining about it. He wanted to ride those curbs and they couldn't handle it. The rear end was popping free. Well, It's the same suspension. You don't go backwards with the suspension. It was something about the aero platform that they changed in the design of the car. Possibly the things that Adrian Newey warned them about that made the car unstable, or at least slightly unstable enough to where they couldn't ride the curbs.
Okay.
Okay? Because with the new floors and the new aero platform, the new aero rules, the bottom line issue is you can take the turns faster, can keep the suction going under the car. Some cars are able to keep level one of those curves a little better, or at least eliminate as much bounce and keep that suction going over the curves to where they're still getting that suction, or enough of the suction where the rear end is not unstable and causing them problems, costing them lap time. And McLaren is that team. Now, what's Red Bull? Well, Red Bull has such an advantage on everybody. The flaws never got exposed. Maybe they did have this problem before, and they were just so much faster because of their aero suspension than everybody else that no one was. It wasn't a concern.
That's true. That could be true. That could be true. That was enough. That was enough makeup to cover up them blemishes.
Right. Well, this is where I beg to differ. Their aero went in the wrong direction on their platform, because when something that Perez can complain about and continue to complain about becomes something that Max starts to complain about, even when he's winning, and then all of a sudden he starts losing, you know you've got a real problem. It's not mythical, it's real.
Well, we know it's real. Getting gapped by 20-something plus seconds by that damn McLaren shows is real. The thing, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, as my grandpa used to say. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. All right, Kenny B, hold on. I'm about to try to give somebody a chance, and I got to address somebody that says something. I got to set the record straight real quick, brother, all right?
Appreciate you.
No problem. This is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say to people in particular. Kenny B has the gumption, the balls to get on here and speak his mind, his knowledge, and his perspective on the sport. If you got a problem, you can call in and speak your mind if you disagree that much with what he has to say. The difference between you and the difference between him, there's probably many differences, is that you only stay on your quarterly keyboard. And if you're going to do that, don't talk about the brother when he gets up here unless you plan on getting up here and having a debate, because he done had many debates. He done been on here to battle it out in debates with former fam and everybody else. Baraka gets on here. Matt gets on here. Jeff gets on here. If you're not going to get on here when I'm offering you the opportunity to get on stage and say what you got to say, yo, you might as well not say nothing at all right here. You might as well wait till we get off and get in the comment section. If you're going to criticize, I got no problem. If you want to stay in the comment section, stay in the live, have conversation with the rest of the fam and other viewers that are watching the show, please, by all means, have fun amongst each other and have a debate in the live stream. But don't criticize somebody and don't try to talk about somebody who's willing to take that next step and get on camera and speak their mind about their opinions on the sport. I'm just not going to accept it. I'm just not going to let it slide. I'm not going to let it pass. I got respect for those like Kenny B, Baraka, Matt, Jeff, everybody else has gotten on, Tanya, other people that have come onto this platform and spoke their mind. Don't listen. That's just weak shit to me. That's just weak shit to me. I got to just keep it a buck. It's weak to me. It makes me think a little less about yourself, and it lets me know that you probably wait till we get off, get in the comment section and talk a bunch of shit. But when I give you the opportunity, because I done told you, haters, people that get in the comment section say they don't like what I got to say about Max, people that have something to say about Lewis, people that that support other teams, people that like other drivers, this is the time I'm offering the platform for you to get on and speak your mind. Let me know what other content creator is allowing you to come on their platform and say, hey, what do you have to say about the sport of Formula One? Who's your favorite team? How do you feel about this topic? Don't talk shit about nobody that does get up here and speak their mind. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Kenny B is valid. Maybe you don't agree with his perspective. Maybe you don't agree with what he got to say. Maybe you think it's something different. Cool. Hit the call link. Get on and tell me how you feel about it. Tell me why you think he's wrong and why you feel it should be this way. But that's some chump shit to just be in the chat and talk crap. You ain't even got enough balls to get on screen. I told you, you don't even got to have your camera on. You can have your camera off and you can still come up here and say what you got to say. Other people have done it. So, man, miss me with that. Miss me with it. I caught it out the side of my eye, and I'm glad I caught it. And I responded to you, and I told you to call in, and I ain't seen you since. I haven't seen you since I told you and pulled your card and told you to go ahead when you said you disagree with this guy. It's hard to listen to. I told you, get on then, and I ain't seen you since. That's what rats and roaches do. When you break out the raid, when you drop the Archon, they get to running and scattering and get to hiding. Don't comment no more when I know you probably still watching. Yo, I'm not going to stand for it. I'm going to call you out real quick. So the offer still stands. If you don't like what he said and he's hard to listen to, why don't you come on camera, come on and bring your mic up, and let us see if you're easier to listen to. Let us see if your perspective is that much more better and your acumen for Formula One is so much more improved that everybody will feel like, damn, you sure is smart. That's all you gotta do. Push the button. Yo, I apologize, y'all. People just kill me with that. Maria Duncan in the live chat. What's up, Maria? Anthony Carrier, Jeff Allen, Racer X210, Incredible Facts. We got Self-Made Maintenance popping in. Of course, we got Dave's Quattro. We also had the Mechanic Mercedes popping in, Kenny Bugs, and many other family members popping in. If I missed y'all, Super Chat from Mechanic said, one more, I got you, brother. And Mechanic says, peace. So, like I was saying, Kenny B, I just had to set that straight, brother. Feel free to call back in if you want to get on one of these other topics, or anybody else in the live stream you want to get on one of these topics, whether you want to talk about Ferrari, whether you want to talk about Danny Rick. Me and Kenny B already talked about Danny Rick. We talked about Max Verstappen and Perez, and I think last time he wanted to say something about that, and we got that off this time. But what's up, MIA? So, yeah, a lot of you all asked me about Ferrari, and I'm saying that they still got some work to do. Things still look troublesome over there. And I also feel that we already talked about the Max Verstappen and penalty thing. So anybody else want to step up, have a word, bring something to the conversation? Hey, feel free. Hit the link in the live chat or in the description. It'll bring you into the studio. Click to go ahead and activate a call. I will answer that call, and then we off. That's all we're doing. We off. Mikey says a lot of work to do. Yes, he does have a lot of work. And Jeff Allen, I really do appreciate you finding the time. Work schedules are busy. Everybody's living life. I'm glad that you found the time to get up here, man, so people can see your face because you were missed. Kenny B is always wanted. And, you know, we haven't seen some of our regular brothers. Matt hasn't been up here yet. Baraka hasn't been up there. Big shout out to them. We would like to see if they got something to say. And any of you all, I mean, like I said, you don't have to have your camera on. If you want to come on here and have a word, I need to get with Nall to try to really work with her. I'm going to try to make it a point this week to contact her to see about getting her system set up so she can be comfortable with coming in and making a call. Maria Duncan, the same offer goes out to you. I would like for more women to get involved within our community, because we have a number of women that have been watching this sport for a long time. We have a number of women that are very passionate about watching Formula One and the things that happen in Formula One. And I need their voices to be heard as well. It is not something that I like to know somebody like Ben Salim, who are slime. Ben Slime is what I'm going to call him. Disrespect women and thinks less of them by the words he's clearly said. I want women to have their voices heard. All right. I will also be on with Tanya later on sometime. Hopefully she'll be on. We'll have a conversation here. I plan on having her back on so we could chop it up about Formula One, especially maybe during this break if we can work it out at some point in time. I also, on my other channel, will have Sonia Slides come on, and we will have a conversation about her and Lunaguna Seika and the work that she's been doing in motorsports on the other channel. Harsh Times Teggy is the other channel where I do a lot of DIY, car building, showing people different techniques and different things that are going on with the build. So if any of you are interested in that content, you can go over to Harsh Times Teggy, spelled with a Y, not an I. So that's Harsh Times TYMES Teggy, TEGGY, and that is the page and the YouTube channel where I do a lot of that content. And so Little Flip was on there. Looking forward to having other guests on there. Like I said, Sonia Slides will be on there. She participated in the Netflix series, did a lot of work on there. She's been doing a lot of work. I think she did some work with Donut Media, and she's been just doing her thing. I will have also Four Door Rocket come on, and she's a formidable drag racer in a Cadillac who drives and has raced with the Oklahoma Street Outlaws crew. So I'm looking forward to having her on there. I try to do my best to make my platform open to women who participate in motorsports. You know, I have a daughter myself that's in motorsports and karting season right now, and I think it's very important that we do that as fellow content creators, especially when we know certain voices are being dampened or put to the side. If you really care about everybody having some type of representation, why not? Why not? You know, a lot of people don't want to do it because they're scared to open up their platform. Yeah, Kobe, you can come on, man. Go ahead, brother. You can come on, Kobe. From the UK, come on, brother. Go ahead and hit that call button. I'll bring you right up. How do we connect? If you see in the call section, there should be a little button in there for you to say call in or make a call. We got a person. Kobe is from the UK. Mikey says a lot of work to do. How do we connect? All you got to do is hit that call button. It will bring up a call, or you'll put one through, put your information in, not like private information, like your screen name that you want to be called. And then you'll go ahead and type your question in, and then you'll send it. I'll see it and I'll bring you right on, man. We still got about 15 minutes before we get out of here. If anybody wants to bring up a word. Kenny Bugs, I just saw you right there. Says can't get back. Kobe, I do see you on right here. And Mikey, I also do see you on right here. How do we connect? If you are having some problems, it could be because you're on a cellular phone. If you're on a cellular phone, you won't be able to do a call in. You'll need to be on a laptop or a PC to do the call in. But it will allow you into studio. Like I see you all right now in the live stream chat in studio. You can do that from your cellular phone. But if you want to do a call in, you likely need to be on an iPad, a laptop, or PC. I don't think they've quite updated the platform to just allow regular cellular phones to do call-ins. 5 minutes, we'll come back. All right, so we got 5 minutes. Kobe says he's going to be back. That will put us around the 8:20 or 2020 mark p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm hoping Kobe Soul, as his name says right there, will be able to make it on. Other than that, I will talk a little bit more. I did show the document as far as it was concerned about Max Verstappen, public work. We went over that earlier. We went over the articles in the ISC, International Sporting Code of Conduct, showed that situation, talked about other situations that Max Verstappen has been involved in. And no, I don't feel like public work was enough. Max Verstappen is a repeat offender in this sense. It's not his first time having this. It's not his last time doing it. And it's not because they don't penalize him as he should be penalized. They keep allowing Max Verstappen to do things as a spoiled, petulant child, and he gets away there. Ben Slime, Jeff says, let's go, Jeff. What's up, brother?
I had to change shirts here.
Y'all, show me your them turbos, them TTs. What's going on, man? What you got?
I just had to comment because it pisses me off so much. Replacing Mossy with Slime. What were they thinking? Are they ever going to get a director that's worth a shit? It's unbelievable. And then you have Massey kissing Baby Max's ass. You got Slime kissing Baby Max's ass. And favoring Red Bull. Red Bull was wrong when Massey was there. Now, apparently, they can do no wrong with Slime there either. It's getting old.
Yes.
I mean, yes. Sooner or later, we'll get it right. But not right now.
Right. All right, Jeff. I like. Hey, bro, that shirt is dope. Jeff got some dope threads. Kenny B coming back on. Show me your TTs. We talking about those twin turbos, people. Twin turbos. Don't get nasty. Kenny B, brother. Go ahead, brother. You close out. What you got?
Oh no, I need that shirt, man.
Man, that shirt was dope. That shirt was dope, bro. I was like, damn, I need that. That was a dope shirt.
Yeah, I need that shirt, man. That's real. Why'd you get rid of him, man? I like that dude.
Hey, man, he would. Jeff be done. Jeff like to come on, pop, and then he dip off. Jeff like to come in, do his drop, and then he dip off. Man, Jeff, what you got? Something you want to ask him, Kenny B?
No. I just like him, man.
I like him too.
I wanted to hear more of what he had to say.
Yeah.
But you hit on some stuff, and then first of all, before I even get started, I like having intelligent discussions about what people think is going on in Formula One from the driver's standpoint and from the technological standpoint. Okay, because basically these guys are rocket scientists. Okay, where else do you get to interact about things that some of the smartest people on the planet are dealing with? The problem is you're also dealing with people who have some of the worst human instincts.
Ooh, nice.
Okay, Jonathan Wheatley, the team principal for Red Bull. These are unscrupulous people. They're willing to do anything, cross any line. Now, if Red Bull did the thing with the brakes, that was some underhanded shit. Okay? Unfortunately, because, and this is why they would never let Toto Wolff run Formula One, because they feel they would lose that controlling advantage that Ferrari thinks they have. So you never see anybody other than someone who's worked for Ferrari end up running Formula One, do you?
That's a good. That's a pretty interesting.
Yeah,
point.
it's a pretty harsh statement, but it's true.
Right. That's a pretty interesting point.
Okay? And the reason being is when they get caught cheating, they cover it up. Well, this time it was Red Bull who we think got caught cheating, and they covered it up again. All right? But getting back to it, if that brake system was there at all, then it's been there for a while. It's been there at least since 2001. That means
so.
Adrian Newey, at the very least, knew about it and probably designed it.
Yeah, we talk about that. We did
That's
talk.
some,
We did.
okay, because that's some
talk
pretty
about that.
smart stuff.
Yeah. Right.
To create a valve that works with G-force, come on.
That is crazy, bro. That's some clever shit. I gotta give.
That's straight up rocket scientist.
I can understand somebody saying underhanded, but that's some clever shit to design something like that.
Dude, it takes a rocket scientist to come up with something like that. But that car was so stable for so long, and then all of a sudden, it's unstable? Come on.
After that red comes out, you know they incited that immediately.
It was like losing the third pedal in the McLaren. You know?
Right.
So, I don't see Adrian Newey in the same light that I see Christian Horner and Jonathan Wheatley, because Christian Horner and Jonathan Wheatley just straight out plan to cheat. Okay, and they use words to do it. All right, and they suckered the race director in, whether he was willing or not, wittingly or not. He fell right into their bullshit.
True.
And made the dumbest move he could possibly ever do. Okay.
Right.
Something that would never have happened if Charlie Whiting was still there.
I knew you was going to say that. Right.
Okay. Just like Max's driving style, the way he runs people off, never would have got away with that if Charlie Whiting was here.
Right. We wouldn't have survived without help.
Nobody could have stopped Charlie Whiting, because he'd have shot them all into the fucking ground.
Right.
He'd have bit him a new fucking head and spit him and chewed their ass out. Nobody fucked with Charlie Whiting, did they?
Right.
Okay. Right. So let's get that out there. So yeah, Red Bull are cheats, and what cheaters do is they point the finger at everybody else. And that's what they've been doing. They
Right.
started with Mercedes, and then they went towards McLaren. And because when you're cheating, you have to deflect.
I was just gonna say you gotta deflect. You gotta try to damn throw it off. Right.
Okay?
You gotta look like a victim.
Exactly. So now that you're the victim and you've taken the victim stand, and now your car's falling backwards, now you get to use the victim stand. Now it becomes more real to the people you've been able
Now
to
you
convince.
really in character. Now you really in character.
Well, you've got substance to back up what you've been trying to sell to people even before it came to that.
Right.
Okay, so that's the thing. How do you make that work? Well, they're pimps.
They pimps.
They're pimps. Because when
Oh my God.
you start spewing this bullshit, you're using the art of persuasion to convince people to see your side of things. And you know that you're going to have a certain percentage of people who you can convince. How else do you convince people of something against their own will?
That was deep. That was nice, bro.
McLaren has a legal rear wing, and they're changing it. They're being pimped.
True. I ain't taking it off until
If
they
your
gotta come
shit
down
is
here and
passing
tell
all
me.
the tests, stand on principle and make them change the fucking rules.
Thank you. There you go. That's what I was going to say. Stand on it. Stand on it. I'm not taking it off just to make you feel comfortable. I'm not taking it off just to make you feel like, oh, I just want to prove to you that I ain't doing no wrong. Hell no. Prove that shit.
Exactly.
Prove that.
Now, with that being said, I can understand why McLaren took the stance that they did, because they wanted to show that Red Bull are the sleaze bags that they really are. Or, I'm sorry, let me stop with the Red Bull thing. They wanted to show that Christian Horner was the sleaze bag that we all know him to be. Okay, and took it away from the conversation. Said, okay, well, what are you going to do in Vegas when we beat you there with the modified wing? Now what do you got to say?
Now, what do you got to say?
Because we don't think you're going to be able to fix your problems, because your problems are so ingrained into the design of the car. What I would have did if I was Red Bull, I would have taken the car back to the original setup. And this is the thing that a lot of people don't understand. And I know that there's people out there texting and disagreeing with me and finding it hard to talk to me and all this, listen to me and all this and all that. And that's cool. Because the thing is, when I get on here and battle against other people, even if I think I won, when I lose, I accept it.
I accept it. Right. And you even encourage people to take up points they need to beat you if they can. Right. Lie, cheat, steal, whatever you got to do.
Do what you got to do.
Right.
Because that's what they do.
Right.
That's what they do with them cars. They lie, cheat, steal, whatever it takes. If you ain't cheating, you ain't racing.
Trying. Right. You ain't. Right.
Okay? So if you, why would you walk into a Lotus situation half cocked? You selling yourself short.
You are.
You got to be willing to at least beat them at their own game.
True.
If you can't beat them some other way.
Don't bring a knife to a gunfight.
So exactly. Don't bring a knife to a gunfight. So the thing is, this is the one thing that Red Bull is finding out right now. That it took Mercedes 3 years, 2.5 years to figure out. When you add downforce through the floor to a questionable suspension or something that you haven't identified, when you add downforce to it, you are adding weakness. You are adding flaws. You are increasing the flaws, the flaws to the stability of your platform. So when you try and add downforce to the car by changing your floor, you better have an upgrade to your suspension to match it. That's what the situation is with these new cars. And that's one of the reasons why McLaren chose not to change their floor. They got it sitting there. They got the upgrade sitting there, and they won't change it. Because until you beat me, until you force me,
ain't no reason for me to make no change.
Exactly.
Why I'm gonna go into an unknown when I know I'm beating you in this current configuration?
We're gonna find out exactly what what Aston Martin and Mercedes found out, and also Ferrari found out.
Right, Ferrari.
Okay, you can add more downforce with these floors. That's fine and dandy. But what happened to Ferrari? They introduced porpoising again, something that they thought they fixed.
Hell yeah, and they had to this shit on back.
So you have to increase the stiffness to the floor. To the suspension. As you increase the downforce to the floor.
Yeah, that shit can't be spongy.
Exactly. Otherwise, you lose stability.
You're going to go ahead, you're going to meet resistance, you're going to pop back up because you're going to drop off the damn ground effect. It's going to pop in. That's where the porpoising comes in and out. Right. You're going to stall. You're going to reach stall, and you're going to keep going through that cycle.
If you don't get the porpoising, you're going to get instability over the bumps or some other kind of instability. Okay. Correct. How can you get that kind of correlation in the wind tunnel?
Bro, that's also a fair point.
Because all of this is nothing but math.
Yeah, it's all theory.
It's all math. Okay, the question is, are you using the right math? And Mercedes found out, Ferrari is finding it out, Aston Martin is finding it out. You weren't doing enough calculations in the right areas. There are a lot more things entailed into adding downforce to a car than just upgrading the floor. You have to counteract that to keep the stability for the driver's feel. And a driver's feel cannot be replicated in a wind tunnel.
True.
Now, this is my challenge to anybody who want to talk shit to me. Come get it. If you know something different, if you think something different, or if you just want to say something different, come get it.
There you go. And that on that end, we ending it right there. You got 1 minute. If you got something to say, you want to say something, you got 1 minute right now to come front stage with Kenny B, and let's just talk about it. Ain't nobody got to disrespect nobody. Kenny B ain't attacking nobody, but you got something you want to say. But keep the shit right, though. Keep cold steady. Don't get crazy. Don't get crazy. It ain't nothing personal. But if you got something to say, and you in the chat right now, click the button, click the link, because it's pinned. Come right on in, and we're going to welcome you to the floor. Welcome to debate. What we got? That's what I thought.
While we're waiting, I'm going to say something about Lewis and Ferrari, because that was the next question. Did he do the right thing? Are they going backwards? I disagree with everybody, because Lewis has been talking to Ferrari all season through the press by talking about his car and what he wants to see happen to his car. And they're listening, because Leclerc has the same driving style that Lewis does. Damn. He does. He hadn't been able to prove it because they just haven't been able to give him a car. Just like Max couldn't prove it because he didn't have a car. Until he got the car, you can't prove it. Damn. Max started with the car this season. He was winning. That's the exact same car he was winning with in the first half of the season. Why you can't win now? You can have the same car that you had when you started the season with. This is what I got to say about all them clowns that keep talking about how good Max is. Max ain't shit. Max is a bull in the China factory who knows how to fucking V-turns, which makes him a 1A driver. But when it comes to dogfighting skills, when it comes to putting two cars against each other, that motherfucker gonna crash every fucking time.
Every time. And Kenny B,
whether he's in front or behind, and he's shown it from both sides.
Both sides. Facts, brother. Man, Kenny B, I appreciate you as always, brother, man. Big shout out to you, Kenny B. I know I expect you back next week, bro.
Yeah, you know I'm gonna have problems getting on, but I'm gonna get there.
Thank you very much. And that's Kenny B for y'all. Listen, yo, Kenny B just said some hot. He just dropped something. I didn't even think about that. Because, you know, in some sports, you got what they call tampering. right? You got what they call tampering. And in some sports, listen, Kobe, brother, it is the end of the show, but because you came on, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes, brother. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes, Kobe, 2 minutes. What you got to say, brother, man?
I've got plenty to say. Plenty
You
to say. I'm a man that watches Formula One.
okay?
Me and my friend, we watch every week. Q1, Q2. Sorry, P1, P2, P3, quali, practice, race. Done it for years. I've watched F1 since I was a kid. I'm getting on now, and I've watched Mansell. I've watched all of them stars: Damon Hill, Blundell, Herbert. So all the British drivers, and growing up in Britain and seeing Lewis what he's achieved and what's going on now, it's a travesty for me because I'm upset. There's a guy doing a thing called F1 Fixed. He started a petition. He's exposing, because for me, Abu Dhabi 2021 is the biggest travesty in sport, in the history of sport. You have to ask, why is this happening? Why has it happened? And it all boils down to one thing. You know it, why you started this. I know it. And many other people know it. And what upsets me most of all is that this is a world sport. They travel around the world. They reap the rewards of every single country that they travel to. And the money is being made by a certain few people. And right now, the glory deservedly is being suppressed because it doesn't fit the narrative. And we know what the narrative is. The history, and I've watched for years the rule changes, the race wins, the disqualifications, the rule changes. I remember that one year where you had to change. They brought in a rule because Lewis used to ask about his settings on his steering wheel, and they brought in a rule saying the following year that he had to clutch, that all the drivers had to use a clutch and they couldn't do this. One when he won Spa, and then they brought in a rule of track limits, and now track limits actually now rules the race. I mean, obviously they've always existed, but it's like certain rules. You can some rules, like in England many years ago, you couldn't drive around with fog lights. If you had fog lights, there's lights in the bottom of your bun, you would call them fender, when it's foggy. If you had them on, you get pulled over by the police. Now it's ignored. Everyone drives around with fog lights because the new cars are made with the lights in the bottom of the fender. So it's just, but getting back to what's going on now, I watched the post today of Daniel Ricciardo leaving Red Bull. Thought he was a great driver, but somebody said,
Kobe, that's time, brother. Hey, listen, Can you please call in next week? Because now you know how to get on, man. First of all, I commend you for getting on. Second of all, we need to hear more of that type of conversation. Kenny B, congratulates you for getting on. So next time, next Monday, get on with us so we can hear more of what you got to say. All right?
Yeah, it's late. So if I
no problem,
I'll get on. But
all right. Hey, Kobe, man, listen, we got somebody new that came in. Kobe came in, giving him a hand for that. Kenny B, good practical. Listen, people, sometimes it might be hard to get on here. Kenny B even told you sometimes it's hard. You got to figure out sometimes, especially if you're using a phone or whatever the case you're using. But everybody doesn't have the right audio equipment, so we work with it. We work around it. But Kobe, next time he comes on, I'm pretty sure he'll listen to this back and he'll find out, okay, maybe it's some things he got to clean up. But that's what it is, trial and error, and I don't mind going through that if it helps us all connect in different parts of the world, different perspectives, different experiences, to bring all those together and have a wonderful time here on F1 Minute. But with that being said, we've had a good time. Please do get on next time. If you're a hater, you got something to say, get on. Kenny B just told you, bring it. So next Monday, we plan on being here. Bring your ass. Don't be scared. And you know what that is. Another episode of F1 Minute. I'm your host, Jay. Hottest Formula One content platform on the planet. And I got the best community, and that's hands down. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.